Here we go, after party number 51, where we're going to talk about sessions 153, what comes next. And I did a little research on these next two. 154, the doppelganger effect again, which is a callback to episode 119. And 155, return to Pussycat Palace, which is a callback to Pussycat Palace. 144. What do you think about that, Leland?
I will say that these titles were admittedly a little uninspired.
I was just, you'd be impressed that I had the numbers. I had to look them up.
Look, you had to look them up. If you pull them off the top of your head, I wouldn't be impressed. But.
Well, yeah, but just the fact that when I saw Doppelganger Effect again, I thought, well, there must have been a Doppelganger Effect somewhere back then.
Honey, I will give you a pat on the back later.
Okay. That's fair enough. I was hoping for more, but I guess
we're not going to have any of that dirty talk in this episode.
Be happy you're getting a pat.
Yeah, you two keep your pats to yourself.
Right? A pat in the front is what I want.
You guys are reminding me of how Falzarin shows affection to Denny.
Yeah, like awkwardly stroking it.
Pats, then rubs it a little
Stroke
bit. Then pats it again.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like us pushing our circlets buttons,
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this the best three, or is I think the last three are better than these three?
Yeah, this is a pretty mediocre 3. Yes.
Just setting up for the next 3, the best 3 ever.
Well, we've been continually going up every 3 episodes, so we've just taken one step back, which still means we're better than all the other 148, right, or 149.
Right.
These 3 are still
Hannah
better
fight,
than those.
Yeah, that's tough to top.
It's a small dip in a upward trend that's been going on for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, it's no recession.
No. Yeah. Don't sell yet.
Please don't sell yet. I will say that these 3 episodes were, after we have a lot of climaxes, you got to do some cleanup. That's what these 3 episodes were.
So cleanup, all right.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup, I think.
It's a lot of setup, too, for what's coming next.
For sure.
Cleanup in the Pussycat Palace.
I bet there's a lot of cleanup there.
Mm-hmm.
They do have an extensive janitorial staff, yes.
That's probably their highest thing that they pay the most for. The highest paying job.
Janitor's the highest paying job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sanitization
They have to pay me a
department.
lot to go in there and clean some of that stuff.
That's exactly what John said. Well, you have to clean the hot tub. I guess that's what
exactly.
Shaq said.
Yeah, I didn't have any interest in picking that place up. Too much work. All right. Well, let's get into 153. What comes next?
Airships. In 2 days. That comes next.
It's fast approaching. Didn't Sally say that's ahead of schedule? So is that ahead of the schedule that we were told?
I would say it's about a day, because it's currently day 5 of 7, right? So if 5 and 6 are the 2 days,
Yeah.
arriving 6, end of 6, early 7, you know what I mean? A little bit.
Okay.
But we're way ahead of schedule, right? We've already done everything we need to do. We're just hanging out for a couple days.
You got 2 days off. It's a weekend for the
Vacation.
party. I don't know what you're all doing going to the Pussycat Palace during off hours.
Yeah, we could take in a show, but no.
We tried that already.
You might get murdered.
You might get killed because you witnessed a heinous crime.
The
The act
entire
really
theater.
slayed the crowd.
The Arknall Theater is killing it.
I think it starts with us absolutely not wanting to be associated with the murder of Hannah and the destruction in the theater. Falzarin has Sardo in the cage still.
He plays with his
Plays with his food.
Yeah, plays with his food's not what I wanted to say. Plays with his necromancy.
His broomstick.
Staff.
We're talking about your soul cage, actually, right now.
Plays with his soul cage. Okay.
Necromancy has a bad rap. Okay.
Leland, now that we're in the after party, what were you hoping that one of us would pick up on with those cool things we could do with the soul cage? Because there was a lot of options there, and you asked 3 or 4 times. Are you sure there's nothing else you want to ask it or do?
I felt like there's definitely something that would have been useful for me to do, and I was like, I don't know what it is.
I think he wanted us to use it up so that Sardo would escape again.
That sounds like
we're not
Leland.
that dumb.
Speak for yourself, John.
Collectively.
Well, I mean, maybe it would have happened if I didn't correct Bill thinking he could use it 15 times before he got out.
Yeah,
of the
so-
Oh, right.
So I've
that
got-
was funny. That was
Got
pretty
13
funny.
uses left in it.
I think just that's the way the spell is, right? So you're just telling us our options. I don't know that Falzarin as a character would even do what he did, but we felt a little bit led into like, what can we do here?
I definitely didn't have any like ulterior motives, but it was more at the time. There were still considerations of going to the Pussycat Palace like right then before your rest, which means obviously for Falzarin using the soul to heal himself would potentially come in very handy. So as long as he's aware of all the capabilities, so yeah, it kind of is like what you said, Elaine. Like I just wanted to make sure Bill was up on the spell because it is a high level spell, which often comes with a lot of complexity and maybe some nuances. This one isn't particularly nuanced in my opinion, but there is a breadth of things that you can utilize from it and benefit from it. Also, you know, I think it's like with Magic in general, often gives the player a lot of opportunity to be creative, especially with the aspect of, oh, well, maybe there's somewhere that we think Sardo may or may not have been that we want to look at now. Again, whether or not that actually would have turned out to be relevant to what's going on currently, probably not, like you all kind of concluded, right?
He didn't seem like he wanted to help us much.
No, I mean, you did ask, you asked him the question, and he was like, look, I just wanted to kill you. Just, like, I'm trapped in this cage. What are you
Little
doing?
bit
Asking me
one-track
questions.
mindish.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask Erica. Yeah, right.
Well,
For a second there, though, I was like, crap, are these people still alive? And, is this a whole other revenant situation? What is going on? But it's like, no, he just literally left and didn't know. Didn't know anything that had happened.
yeah. Well, I mean, this was like a, quote unquote loose end kind of being tied up. I mean, Sardo and, of course, the Dragoganger in the next episode. Yeah, it's still just, I think, reminding the party that, like, the past still is impacting the present, right? And your actions previously still have potentially future consequences.
Dragoganger would have been a more creative title to the episode. There you go.
To this, yeah, but I was trying to bury the lead a little bit.
But you called it doppelganger, so it's
Well, in the next episode, by then we kind of everyone was like, "Oh, Drag stab Falzarin. What's going on?"
with a dagger from Shikara.
That I gave to Drag, not the doppelganger.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before he was the doppelganger, I gave it to Drag. So he could do something. He was not meant to use it on Falzarin. He was meant to use it on somebody else.
He would have done a lot less damage without that dagger.
He would have gotten
Elena
something
wants to
else.
know who he's supposed to pokey.
He would have gotten something else that might have done more damage. So you're welcome.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if I recall correctly, Shikara gave Drag in quotations a dagger in a glass case that break in case of doppelganger. I mean, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I mean, the instructions were pretty clear. He couldn't not break the case.
And then, I outed myself accidentally.
Oh shit! I broke the case. They're gonna know. And then when Shikara asks to see the case again, you see that it's just got like Scotch tape wrapped around. It's like, here it is. I'm not the doppelganger.
Good as new.
I totally buy this.
That's
yes,
all he
I
says.
see no problems with this.
If you're a Dragoganger
Mullen
for hire,
broke it.
like, you would have better weapons than that. Honestly. Like, you're some sort of doppelganger out to assassinate. I mean, 40 damage is nothing to laugh at, though.
Well, I mean, regardless of what yes, he was more wielding the dagger for flavor. Like, I still used his base damage of it, which is only a D6. Also, like, a doppelganger is only a challenge rating 3, which, like we saw, again, we're jumping ahead to the next episode, but like we saw, like, he was very easily dispatched. A doppelganger is an ambush predator. That is why that first attack you got off when you were surprised, that's where all that damage came from, is because you had the surprise condition. Very much like an assassin rogue, like Bryn used to be, you get that extra damage boost if you can get the jump on your enemy, which is the point of a doppelganger, right? Mm-hmm. To deceive and get the upper hand based on their deception.
How happy were you when Falzarin said, "Anybody want to join me in my tiny hut"?
I mean, obviously, I loved it.
He was, listening back, Leland was very quick to be like, "You had your own room, Mia." I was like, "Okay, fine, sure, whatever you say."
I was just being belligerent because I paid for a bed.
I had my orgy going on. I was fine.
It was enjoyable to listen back and just like listen to how Leland said everything. And like, you didn't give it, you had a poker face on, man. There were no hints in your voice or anything that you said. It was just like,
we do need to get back to Sardo, but what does Dreg's blood look like? I slice him, yep, definitely looks red. There was an answer to it that was factual, but like, we just glazed past it, I guess. I don't know. It just, the hints were there.
I don't think there's any blood color differences.
I don't know if there
well,
were much.
he described the dead blood as a different color.
Right.
it was green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's funny, when I listened back to it today, to me, the way Dreg was speaking sounded more sinister than usual. I don't know. I just listened to it. I was like, I'm not talking
off.
like normal Dreg, I don't think. I don't know.
There's something off anyway.
It was like, yes, I'll get in your tiny hut.
Keep that in mind anytime we talk to an NPC.
If they went in the tiny hut, we should kill him.
Look for Leland to be rolling his fingers together.
Well, anyways, you abused Sardo a little more. Just as he lived, as in life, in death, via his interactions with the party. And we finally popped the bag, so to speak, and sent him away. Solved. Problem solved.
How do we feel about 153 episodes in? Getting rid of a character that's been around since day one.
I think when it's been on your tail for so long and it's always this thing that's in the back of your mind and then he's dead, you go, oh. It's like you wanted him to explode in your hands in front, and everybody cheers, and the whole, all of Drakral throws a party. But it was it was satisfying.
Yeah.
Anticlimactic?
I felt that way when Hannah died. I was like, all right.
Not anticlimactic. I mean, it was great to have that off the checklist, right? And we all knew that was going to go down. It's like, oh, it's over.
It
I'm
did
gonna
feel
miss
a little
him.
bit like Hannah, check. Doppelgangers, check. Now we're like Neogi, Isabella. The last few checks here. We gotta...
And then we got to deal with Samuel.
Yeah, well, I imagine the party will think about that bridge when they get to it. But
Yes.
as far as like, Sardo being done and eliminated, it's like it doesn't really ease up any of the current pressure, right? Because most of the pressure that the party is under is from other people and
It's old pressure.
effects.
Yeah,
Exactly. It was
Yeah,
old pressure.
but every morning you wake up and you got a Sardos that's trying to kill you and 2 or 3 doppelgangers that are trying to kill you. You wake up with that pressure every morning. Now those are gone, and even Hannah. So you're going, whew, well, a lot less things trying to kill me today.
It seemingly
See,
ties up
that's
some
good.
loose ends.
We
Yeah.
never got to the point where we pissed off Hannah enough for her to want to kill us. So, we evaded that.
She's sacrificing every which person for
Great
Neogi,
great preemptive actions there. Just
Yes,
you
exactly.
gotta kill them before they want to kill you. That's how you.
Exactly.
You
We're
kill
getting
them
much
before they
better.
kill you. It's man eat man out here.
It is Neogi.
We're getting better as a
Neogi
party,
out
is what
here.
I'm saying.
I'm glad Hannah's gone.
I think Hannah's death was a little anticlimactic, but that's what the circumstance led to, right? That's where the actions of the party led to. I mean, that's where Hannah's own actions led to, right? She very easily could have chosen to not engage at that time
I told her, leave me alone.
or leave Shakar alone. Clearly, whatever motives she had at the time kind of, obviously contributes to the actions that she takes as a character, right? And as a character specifically in the world of Aspara.
I feel like some main character deaths were better than others, and that's just because of maybe the intention, the circumstances, and Hannah was just sort of caught in the crossfires of what we were doing. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they were I guess I stated it that way. But what I really mean is I think John, am getting a feeling as things are being resolved. It sort of has this little, like, pieces are... You know what I mean? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the funnel's closing in on the chapter 3, right? As things finish up.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy to think that we, like, two relatively big characters were both taken out in a series of 3 episodes. Like, that's kind of wild how it all worked. And I think we're probably fortunate that none of our characters needed to be resurrected throughout all of that. Could have gone a lot worse, I think.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you have Hannah, Sardos, and Alamar all die. That's a mammoth episode.
Yeah, I mean, and Mullen's dead too now, so we're watching Mullen's body.
Yeah, well, we forgot about Mullen most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And Kula.
Yeah, Mullen was a little, he wasn't very impactful.
Is Alamar gone for good, though? Like, part of me wants to think that he's not. I don't know.
I think he's gone.
It seems like he is, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's looking down on us.
That's what
from
Leland's done
somewhere.
to us.
He's
He's
looking up
twisted
to
our
us.
psyche to question every death
Trust
of
anything
character.
anymore.
Yeah. Because we killed the Kraken, but Kralakina escaped, and, like, there's all these things.
Part of me kind of wanted him to, like, be brought back to life and, to see what happened.
You wanted...
I'm not sure I wanted him to be a lich, because I feel like
You're
that
not
would have been I feel like that would have been a real big problem for us to solve.
Yeah.
But maybe if we had brought him back to life, he would still, like, want to be a lich, but wouldn't quite be able to pull it off, or it would take him, like, a long time to be able to set up all of the ducks in a row before he could have
You're
an
just
opportunity
looking
to do
for
it
that
again.
respect that he's never given you. That's what you want. You want him to say, "You're something, Falzarin."
He's my dad, who
Falzarin has
just never
elder
really
issues.
liked me.
Right before he kills you.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, let me ask you this in relation to that, because obviously if you were able to have Alamar, even a non-Lich Alamar, as an ally, that is beneficial to you, but do you believe that the party needs to accrue more allies in the fight specifically against the Neogi? Or do you think that what you are currently lining up and working towards with Samuel Coltis and the Paladins, will that be enough? Are you confident that assembling this armor of Kalar and submitting this power that, I mean, you've been told is immense, but obviously have yet to see anything firsthand as far as the way these pieces act and function together, is that going to be enough? And maybe we'll start with Mia. Does Mia believe that that's going to be enough?
Do we have enough circlets for everybody? It is so easy for the Neogi to turn the tide during times where they could charm people or whatever it is that they do. I think it's charm, right? So, like, say you have a whole ground force of paladins charging at Neogi. From a distance, they cast a spell trying to charm people. I mean, it's just... They're crawling through the sewers. How many Darklings were there before the lone Jolvi, like, they've just sacrificed people after person after person, like, race after race, like, with the Darkling, like, to feed this growing army. We've seen them pregnant have multiple scurry out of their bellies, right? Like, they don't just have one baby. Mia's not confident we have enough, but she's putting her absolute best forward to do what we can to save the planet, is how it feels. Is that accurate, though? Is it just the continent, or is it the planet? I don't know.
Continent, I suppose. But, I mean, I understand what you mean, for sure.
And I think the armor and, like, aligning with the powerful forces in Aspara are our only hope. And so we've got connections with the Coven, we've got connections with Samuel. It's like, you got to keep those connections. So, yeah, maybe Alamar could have helped, but I wouldn't like putting my trust in him after our history with him, I guess. It seems like all hands on deck, though, so if he wanted to still rule in any way of Heraklion or whatever his goals were, it would align with, like, remaining alive and Aspara being around.
Shikara?
I don't know. I mean, like Elena just said, it's not just the Neogi, which there's many, many Neogi. It's all of the people they have enslaved already, which is a lot of people. It's like all the orcs in the mountains, all the darklings. It's the massive army that they have. And we have the paladins. Will it be enough? Even with the armor? I don't know.
Ballsy?
I think Falzarin really worries that we're up against, like, just too many that are too powerful. You know what I mean? Like, if it weren't for the Neogi's mind control ability, they're not that dangerous of a foe. But when you add that into it, man, like, it can really turn the tide of a fight if they mind control one of your allies. Like, I don't know. It's it seems really bad. It seems like there's a lot of them, and they've got some pretty good abilities to boost their numbers, which already seem like are a lot, by mind controlling other, humanoid people to, I don't know. It seems bad. It seems very bad. I think that's part of the reason why, like, Falzarin was very against Alamar becoming a lich, but he, like, in doing the whole soul cage thing with Salardo and that sort of thing, Falzarin did that under the pretense or the assumption that Alamar was going to be reunited with his body, and the lich thing was going to be potentially back on the table. And he was kind of okay with doing that. He wasn't excited about it, but he was willing to do that because I think, one, we needed to get rid of Salardo, but two, Alamar would have been a very, very powerful ally, whether he became a lich or not, right? Even if he was not able to go through with his plan because we kind of foiled it and the timing was off now.
But would a lich have allied with us? He may have thought he was powerful enough to withstand Neogi and didn't need us.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even, I think Falzarin was hoping against hope that maybe we screwed up the timeline for him to become a lich, and so now it wasn't going to work out properly, and he would have had to wait for, what was it? Wasn't there some alignment of the stars or moon or something like that he was relying on?
Yeah, there was a specific time that it would have been most beneficial to undergo the transformation that the elixir, kind of puts on a person striving to become a lich. So I'll put a pin in that conversation because I do want to come back to it. But I'm going to move on to Shaft. But I think the question for Shaft can be tweaked a little bit because really what I want to know from Shaft is how much does Shaft need the Paladins to be enough rather than want, if you understand the difference, just because, like, I mean, how much does Shaft care about the Neogi outside of a grand, like, oh, the continent of Aspara is under threat?
I think Shaft's looking at it like everybody's got an agenda, and right now we all have a common enemy. But as soon as that common enemy, if and when it gets destroyed, whoever the most powerful is in the alliance will turn on the others. So, will it be enough? I think so, with everybody allying together, the powers that are the hidden powers that they may have, either with the armor or with their gods or so forth. But once that's done, can your ally still be good enough of a friend not to turn on you?
That's obviously a smart way to approach it, because all the people that you've aligned yourself with, like, none of them are 100% trustworthy. Like, even, I say even Isabella, but, like, most normally, especially Isabella. But in the context of Shakar being part of the coven, like, even Isabella is not 100% trustworthy, sharing this common familial tie, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the pin, would have a resurrected, well, quote unquote resurrected or whatever process it ended up being, Alamar coming back, and Alamar's thing throughout the reason he was becoming Lich was so he could maintain Heracleon's protection and integrity under his own eyes. That also could have been a potential ally against Isabella, right? As Isabella is kind of in control of Heracleon now, depending on what hairs you want to split, the hierarchy between Isabella and the Paladins, right? But like, how much would that have impacted future events if you had Alamar around? Because the Coven is still something that is the party eventually going to have to deal with it, right? Or is it going to be one of those things that, well, depending how it plays out, maybe it'll be fine to leave it alone? Like, what's going to happen with that?
Like, just take care of Izzy and let Shakara be the boss and just, like, trust her with that little family.
What's the difference with Samuel having the armor versus a Lich versus Dindar?
Yeah, that's the thing.
They're all the same bad if one takes over.
Alamar never said that if we were to let him live or be free, he would help us.
We don't know how bad Samuel is. I mean, yes, he was destroying the land, but that was to get the armor because he needed it to save the land. It was the ends justifying the means to him. His paladins, he didn't have complete control over. Some of his paladins were dicks. People are dicks. I mean, he can't micromanage enough to stop every one of the people under his command from doing unsavourable things.
But to Leland's point, the Lich thought he's going to turn into a Lich because he could control it in his mind and do all the right things. Can Samuel, when he gets all the armor, which we all know was split up for a reason.
You're thinking that armor's going to overtake him and be like the ultimate power.
I mean, think about it. Why
power corrupts.
Why did they decide to break it all up into pieces and hide it? If it was something somebody could put together for the greater good, then we'd have a fantastic ruler right now wearing the armor.
The exact thing Emily said, though, the ends justifying the means, like, that's where Mia's headspace is at, because it's like life or no life on Aspara. So it's like, okay, I'm going to choose life, even if that means Samuel might have the almighty power and we have to deal with him later, try to figure it out.
That's no different than the Lich.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
one was no good. This one's okay.
I argue with you saying it's no different than the Lich.
Yeah, because you're making a judgment call on what's good and what's not good. Lich, meaning evil.
Well, I mean, the Lich, yeah, as far as we knew, the Lich was going to be out for himself only. And he probably would have gone back to Heracleon and taken over complete control of Heracleon. And who knows whether life under him there would have been good or not. But you wouldn't go up against him. What he said would be law. With Samuel, you don't know that's what's going to happen. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it probable? Most likely. We don't know.
Did Alamar ever do anything in Heracleon that would make us think that he was going to do something evil?
He feeble-minded Grimby. How can you get any more evil than that?
Yeah, poor Grimby. I guess my concern is that, and this is more Bill speaking than Falzarin. Bill here.
Bill here.
yes, thank you for touching on that. That was classic.
I got a good chuckle
stand-up comedy.
Yeah, stand-up comedy from someone who's not trying to be a comedian.
No, I'm taking a jab at Bill for labeling his Twitch streams as stand-up comedy. But anyway.
Yeah. People laugh at me, not with me. Anyway,
yes, we do, honey.
So the point I was trying to make is that, from what I understand, Lich are almost exclusively evil, right? Like, I don't think you can be a Lich and not be evil, or is that wrong? Well, like with the lore of D&D, I suppose you can homebrew D&D any way you want it to be, but that's my understanding of the Lich, like, character or class or whatever they are.
But would our characters know that?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
Our players linking through and assuming that just because he's going to be a Lich means he's going to be evil.
Falzarin's pretty smart. He would probably know things. Mia would maybe know, like, evils.
I believe it's a wizard trying to have immortality and believes he can control it.
Let me ask you all this then. Have you met someone, something, some force in Aspara yet that you believe to be 100% absolutely evil?
I don't think so.
Izzy.
I wouldn't say she's 100%.
I think even
99.9.
the people we would label as evil, in their mind, think that they have justified ends, right? That justifies the means. And so I guess, does that make them really evil? Like, I don't know. I think they think they're doing the right thing.
I mean, but does that matter?
The Neogi 100% evil? Is there any good in the Neogi?
Well, what do you know about the Neogi?
Their home planet got, like, didn't they have to flee their home planet because some other race like took it over and tried to wipe them all out?
They created a race or subjugated a people to be slaves, right? And then the slaves rebelled, kicked them off their own planet.
Right. They did, in fact, form the Shapeless Ones in an attempt to create an entity that, yes, they could control and use as part of like their labor force and do the things that maybe their physical capabilities would not necessarily allow them to do. And that now new race of people is essentially what they created, was able to rise up and rebel, and now they're on the run from them as they've gotten the upper hand.
Okay. So I don't feel nearly as sympathetic for them in that case.
Right.
They basically tried to create a race of slaves, and then, oh, what do you know? They didn't want to be slaves.
I do feel that all that Mia knows about them, they are, like, I have seen had zero good in interacting with them. The one time a year ago, whatever, I let a Neogi go. I was like, here's the promise to me. You promise not to attack Barrick or anything. And then I call my parents and they're very obviously mind controlled.
Or maybe your dad was on the shitter and he couldn't talk right then.
I don't know. I know my dad pretty well.
You know his pooping voice?
Yeah. There's secret code that he didn't use. Like dropping the kids off of the pool. He could have just told me that.
Yeah. Well, he's only got 25 words. Yeah. I suppose then kind of that rehash of the information about the Neogi kind of answers that question. Like, yeah, pretty undoubtedly the Neogi are like an evil people. I mean, they're slavers. How do you, there's no being an apologist for that type of shit, right? I don't know if that merits a larger conversation as far as talking about like inherently evil races or whatever in Dungeons and Dragons, which probably not. But I mean, like the whole point of Aspara, right, is usually that one, obviously, if it isn't clear enough, like nothing is on the surface what it appears to be, right? There's always something underneath or something else to the story, for good or bad.
The portly doctor we met.
The portly doctor, yeah, you met in session 1. But also, like, a lot of the morality in Aspara is very ambiguous and obviously depends on whoever is measuring that morality up to their own sense of it, right? Which isn't necessarily reflective upon, like, real life, just because of, you know, the laws that have been in place for, you know, X amount of years in the regions that kind of dictate people's behavior. Whereas in a medieval sense, obviously that is non-existent. So things can be way more flexible, right? Because even you think about doing something bad, and we can keep it very generalized, but if you do something that is just undoubtedly, and I won't use the word evil, but just something that you wouldn't do unless you were under some other type of pressure that is forcing you to do it, doesn't matter that that pressure is there. You still have done this act, and it's still an act that is going to influence others and the people that will ultimately inflict suffering upon other people. You still have the answer to yourself. You have to still answer to whatever higher power you may or may not believe in. Does it matter that you were under the pressure of that? Or, I mean, you can even look at it as a form of coercion. Does that form of coercion matter after everything is all said and done? If you have accomplished something by nefarious means, does it matter?
I mean, it could be said that killing Hannah and her guards was evil. We didn't have to kill them. We got the amulet, we saved Mia's life, because, I mean, they weren't trying to kill her, they were trying to capture her. We could have let her been taken. We didn't have to kill them.
There's a moment with Doppeldreg where I was listening back, and Mia, you know, you had me roll intimidation. Like, Mia's, like, intimidating and threatening, like, a painful death to someone, okay? Like, this is Mia, and there is a spectrum and a change in our characters as we go along. But like you said, I don't know that I would have, like, immediate guilt of feeling like I did something wrong when the ends justify the means type thing, or it feels like justice. But I do think that Mia, at heart, is good and reflecting upon Hannah and things, let's even say when the campaign wraps up, like the months, years ahead, would feel like she needs to maybe make penance or things like that to Thor for, like, going about things in wrong, quote, or bad, quote, ways.
Well, Mia and Shakara, when we first met them, would not have killed those guards, would not have killed Hannah.
Yeah. So I think there's some reckoning to be had after the campaign, but that's just, like, the character development and how I see it. I don't know that, right now she's in the mindset of the ends justify the means, like we were talking about.
Right, and in 155, during Shakara and Mia's solo section of that, there was that was a beautiful roleplay moment, by the way, between the two of you. Excellent job. That was really good. But there was a line that Mia had said. Mia had said, you know what, you were right killing that doppelganger. I mean, that just right there obviously speaks volumes about the changes that Mia has gone through. I mean, but I think that's why you roleplay, right? Like, that's great. But let's get back to the episode then. So we're kind of into 154, right? You've defeated, you've captured the Dragelganger. You've questioned him. You basically, the whole party is threatened him. Shaft with his sword up to the net, right? And then the hammer.
Ugh.
Ultimately, you kind of you figure out that he's still operating under these, like, weeks old orders that he received on the Isle of Heracleon before they left, right? To sow as much destruction in the name of you four, really, the name of the party as they can, right? Whether or not how successful they may or may not have been, what else they might have gotten up to, you kind of know a lot of what they did, right? Not necessarily potentially all of what they did, so maybe there's more consequences. He alluded to, well, maybe there's always more of us. And then also you told him, like, oh, well, Kraken's dead, Erica's dead. He was kind of a little shocked. He was in denial, obviously, right away, saying, you don't know what you've done, etc. So, yeah, kind of alluding to things. Some of it may or may not have been bullshit. Ultimately, though, you get the room where he's keeping Dreg.
Well, back on the doppelganger, what did happen to the cult of Kralakina? There were a lot of people on Heracleon left in that cult. They didn't just quietly disappear and disperse and no longer believe in Kralakina. That's not how that kind of thing works.
They're
usually.
likely in another planning stage of how can we get them back? What can we do?
But they don't have their leader, so unless somebody somewhat powerful stepped up to take the place of Erica.
Right. I do think it is smart to not just dismiss the influence that the remaining members of the cult of Kralakina may or may not have, but also keep in mind that, you know, when a mirror morphed Erica / Shaft and Mia / Sardo kind of mistakenly gave the evacuation order on the island, right, where they started bombing the side of it and trying to sink it if they couldn't take it. Well, all those forces went onto those boats that were doing that attack on the actual ground, and then those boats sank, right? The Tritons came, or the
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the Tritons came and then they
yeah.
sank them. So a large majority of the cult is presumably vanquished, but absolutely, surely there are more members out there, right? And people that are still worshiping Kralakina.
Right.
I tried to play Mia as very uncomfortable discussing all of those events again. I didn't want to hear about the Kraken. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want
Right.
Falzarin to ask Sardo about it.
Shakara suggested I ask that, and then he basically told us no information.
Yeah. Just kind of would have been nice to know what the plans were, become world domination, that kind of thing, I assume, but something we could look out for. Just try it again.
Can I ask a question? I've been wondering, how come Shaft wouldn't want to become a boss in Drew Call?
He's never wanted to be a leader of any kind.
Why not?
It's just not his motivation.
But his motivation is what? Money?
I think he's got a few different things that he's sort of working through, but I think it's really more the freedom to make his own choices and do what he wants. He has some things that, of course, he wants to go resolve the Nina situation, but I think in general he wants to not be a pawn.
But like money, influence, power, freedom comes with being the one on top, no?
No, it's a dangerous spot.
Everybody's gunning for you if you're the one on top.
Yeah, you're much better off playing.
What about
those people.
appointing or knowing someone that you have their ear? So then, like, you are inside.
Littlefinger?
Yeah.
Shaft could be Littlefinger?
To a certain point, he was trying to play all of them, right?
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, like...
Now 2 of them are gone.
2 out of 3 are gone, right? So you could suggest or encourage someone to, like, take over and then be on their... Yeah.
I think I've probably, in some way, made that clear. And Drakal, who I think needs to know.
But who? Do I
There's
not
only
know?
3, and the 2 of them are gone.
Well, I think he's saying Leg would take over the whole thing.
Yeah, I think
Leg would take over the whole thing.
Well,
That
I've already
seems-
got a relationship with Lag.
It just seems unlikely that one boss would take over a whole city without anyone.
I
rising.
would not go up against Lag. How would you get that following? Would you just go and sit on Hannah's throne and say, "Now I'm suddenly the guy"?
Depends.
You gotta have some big balls to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have an army. I would think my best bet is to, if I was desiring to do that, would be to get in with Lag, be his second-hand man, get him up to the top, and then stab him in the back. Right? That's what you do if you wanted to take over. Of course, then you're the person that's going to get stabbed in the back next. But I don't think Shaft has ever had a desire to do that. He would rather be the guy behind the shadows more than the focal. So yeah, I think I'd want to see how. And I've said a number of times, I think there's going to be a big power suck in Drakal, and knowing how that's all going to play out is more interesting to him, and how he can be on the right side of that than who it is.
I feel bad for poor Jolvi. We free the Darklings, we defeat the Neogi, and then he'll probably no longer be Jolvi. They'll be like, no, I'm the real Jolvi. You're just a villain.
He's like that terrible cover band.
Yeah, you're the wedding singer, but like we're the main show.
So at the end of the episode, Shaft and Falzarin go to Magic, and get a little shopping spree in.
Yep.
Which we didn't listen to.
We're getting to know him pretty well now.
Well,
his name yet?
When you can only buy so many bags of holding for somebody before they start,
He feels naked without it.
Yeah, I think I said that once or twice.
How'd your shopping episode go? You got me a potion of greater healing, thank you.
Sure did.
Spell slots are few and far between these days, as are long rests. So
Yeah, I think some healing potions are not a bad idea.
like, I realize the irony of being a cleric and freaking out wanting healing potions, but
Now, I think whenever you're in town, we have to stop by and get a couple of body bags, because you never know when they're going to come in handy.
Exactly.
I would suggest we all buy one every time we go into Magic.
Are you going to get yours back? Are you going to dump Danzig out?
I bought a new one.
So you're just going to leave Danzig in the one with, what's-his-face?
Please.
Just forever.
How many bodies can we put in a bag? Where did we figure that out at some point in time?
Mullen's not in a bag yet, is he? Maybe. I'm not sure.
No, you left them rotting in a hotel room.
We will have to put him in a bag to pause the rotting.
He was not bag worthy.
Yeah,
Obviously
Mullen's like if Hannah's a B level character, Mullen's more like a W level character.
That's so
Oh my
mean.
God.
He barely even had a voice.
That's so mean.
It's the truth. We never talked to him. We never remembered he was even there.
Yeah, that. Look, I think I mentioned this talking to Emily and Elena in our Discord this morning. I killed one off. All right, I'm trying to reduce the voices. But
Every time we kill an NPC, we pick up a new one.
Another one pops up. You cut off one head and two more pop up. Okay, this is a Hydra NPC.
Kula and their mammoth.
And then Kula tries to leave, and you tell him he's got to stay.
And you should be lucky I'm not dragging Halsa and Drag with me everywhere I go.
Isabella can wait. Oh, that's so good. I gotta go back to Izzy. No, you don't.
I really gotta go.
I'm not letting him leave ever now.
You've been great. I thank you for the hospitality, but I gotta go home.
I mean, it's true. We're using him for his mammoth. Size matters, you know?
So we get to sit. Go ahead.
So, well, okay, yes, we had the shopping spree, and Falzer and Shab did have a little off-mic stuff. Which, again, I love it when a pair of characters just gets a chance to talk to each other. Just kind of outside of everything else, and, actually kind of reflect. They're like moments of reflection, right? And I don't mean that as in they are the only moments of reflection. I mean, they are vocal moments of reflection, because again, all of your characters, their own inner monologues is not something that gets voice on the show, right? That's just something that individually that you kind of think about in the mindset of your own character. So I really do like it when you get the chance to vocalize those inner workings, those inner thoughts, right? Is there anything you want to talk about your off? I mean, really, you got some news that you did end up sharing with me and Shakara.
With Kepley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jog my memory on that news.
That everybody in the Arknall Theater was murdered.
Oh, yes. How could I forget that?
And that Hannah and her guard got out alive.
Supposedly.
According to Kepley. But I asked Kepley if it was something he knew for sure, and he said it was sort of down the... somebody said, right? A little telephone game
I
going
don't
on
know
there.
what powers her guards have, but you could revive someone.
I don't think we left anybody alive, though. All the guards were dead. Well, all the guards that were in the theater. I guess there could have been some outside.
Yeah.
There were guards or something keeping people out of the main theater. Like the doors were shut and someone would have to keep them out. Guards.
I mean, people can be brought back from the dead.
What?
We didn't take her body and we didn't slice it up or anything.
No, we just needed the amulet anyway.
Right, but I'm saying somebody on her staff could have went in and resurrected her.
Yes.
Or,
I was dead at the time.
and then killed everybody.
I didn't have much say in what we did do with her body.
Haven't learned the whole burn the body thing very well.
Even just drag the body under the stage and hide it there for a minute, distraction.
Everybody really wanted to get in for the second act. They were trying to break down the door.
It was that good of a play.
That's right.
I need to know what happened.
Listen, I have the original edition, mint condition, from the storeroom. We'll read the ending. No, I read you the ending. Happily
you told
ever
me
after.
Ending.
Well, maybe after everything's said and done, Mia can put on her own production and share that with the people of Drukal. Okay. Do you all think that this story that Kepley had heard second/third hand is accurate then? Because you are all kind of theorizing about what could may or may not have what went down.
I'm thinking that they're just saying that so that there's not panic until they can figure out how to deal with the fact that Hannah's gone.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I don't think she got revived or resurrected or whatever.
If everyone was murdered, where are the bodies? You know,
I assumed still in the theater. We haven't been back.
We didn't go
we'll
back.
have
Yeah.
to take a look for them.
I mean, Shaft is going to be torn because I think he thinks that it's all a ruse, but Kepley usually has very good information.
So you're saying the telephone game wouldn't apply to Kepley?
Kepley usually has good information. So if he gets information through a chain of events, it's usually through reliable resources or reliable sources. That's what I'm saying. I think from the surface, I saw her die, and we saw what happened, so I have a hard time believing
I
that.
have concerns over... So, Hannah's the boss. Come in. Hannah's dead. You see the destruction in the theater. You're one of these jackal guard guys with a scimitar. Who has the balls to just start demanding to kill everybody? Like, who's the leader? Who's giving the orders? Like, you just
There's still a
wouldn't
captain
turn...
of the guard.
Do you think... Well, how do you know the captain wasn't one of the ones after me that we killed?
Then the sergeant or whatever the next level down.
So they just
is.
look around, see the situation, and are like, all right, kill them all.
Maybe it's a standing order. Maybe it's like known throughout the higher ranks of Hannah's.
Hannah
guards
dies, kill
that-
everyone. Okay. All right.
You can't let Hannah be seen dead, or hurt, or anything like that. She can show no weakness.
I hadn't considered that, but that I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, they can't show weakness because then they would lose their whole section of the city. And if Hannah's not dead, in quotes, then somebody else could position themselves to take her place.
There would also be a backup plan then. If you ever find my body and you don't know how long it's been, do this, this, and this to try to bring me back.
Mm-hmm.
Great. No one ever dies in this campaign.
Tell me about it.
Igna's dead.
Reason. Oh yeah, supposedly.
Well, that's
Allegedly.
only because nobody cared enough about him to try to resurrect him.
Allegedly.
Sardo is dead. Again.
Or
I
just
mean,
like
yeah.
non-existent, I guess is the word. Yeah, did we kill him? Or was it like, is it called kill when it's a soul?
Chucky and Erica, both gone. Check.
Just can't say confidently. Just like we can't say someone is like 100% evil.
Hulsa's sister and brother are both dead.
Salsa and...
Yeah, I don't remember their names.
Cheese.
Tulsa and Echo.
Echo. The odd man out.
Yeah, poor Echo. I mean, he really got the worst of it, I think.
Yeah, being drained.
Well, that's what happens when you pledge your life to Dendar.
I mean,
Yeah.
speaking
Yeah.
of evil...
It sucks.
So going into the tunnels is interesting, being invisible and all that, where it's like, I'll wait till Faltern's about to throw the stone. It's like, you can't see him. Okay, well, okay. We can't see each other.
So now we're in session 155, where we're in the Pussycat Palace and wandering around trying to find anything.
I mean, we didn't see Hannah there. We didn't see
Yeah.
a big mass of people. It certainly seemed like there was no...
We notice guards acting strange. They would whether she was revived or not, so it's still...
Right.
So we're underneath because Shaft's pretty sure that, like, they wouldn't just throw someone into, like, an S&M room or whatever. Is that the right terminology? I'm such a prude.
I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good PG term for it.
You wouldn't hide somebody in a private room just in case somebody accidentally walked in on it.
Yeah, which for some reason I was like, that's where people could be. But no, like, underneath, there's obviously monsters. And...
I mean, what a good play. Somebody walks in, they see a guy in a cage. Let me out. I go,
Aha,
no
you
kink
like it
shame in
that way.
here.
I'm sorry. I
I
don't know your safe word. I cannot open it.
Say the safe word.
Yeah, I think she's dead. I don't think she got...
All I'm saying is
Revive.
you never know.
No, yeah, I wouldn't be like blown away if she ended up not being dead, but I'm placing my bets
You
on her
thought
being
Brendel was
gone.
Brendel, Dreg was Dreg. I mean, I don't trust your opinion anymore.
I've been wrong once or twice before.
Misunderstood.
I mean, You make it sound as if Falzer was the only one that got duped. It was like everyone's getting duped. Come
Yes.
on.
Thank you,
Right.
Leland.
Yes.
Falsey should
Leland has
know
caused
better.
trust issues in all of us.
Trust issue. So, like, down that hallway where all the baddies are, potentially there could be, like, jails carved into the scape or something like that.
So, I mean, there could be anything. It could just be a big open room with chains on it.
But there's quite a few of them. It's gonna be a fight. It seems.
Well,
Not if you can do something to cause the Neogi and the Jackals to take each other out, and then we just walk by the walking trash
Yeah.
disposal, and we're
Do you
fine.
think the Neogi and Jackals don't see each other? Has that been, like, clearly
Yeah, they're
explained?
facing off with each other.
oh, really? I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
Interesting.
that either.
Really?
Emily's smart, though. I'm dumb.
I think it's literally
From where we're standing, the trash disposal, Neogi, Jackals, other room, like in a row, and the Jackals and the Neogi were yelling at each other.
correct.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're fighting. It just, I interpreted it as, like, talking.
The Jackals are making fighty noises.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody fighting. So
fighting,
I guess I
though.
didn't pick up
They
on
They
it.
weren't
mean-
fighting yet. They were just facing off.
Okay, verbal fighting versus physical fighting. I
okay.
didn't presume the physical fighting.
Yeah, I guess I did get vibes of them like sort of like disagreeing or something.
So we just need to
but,
get that spark, that shot that
Yeah.
starts everything, and have them go at each other, take each other out.
right. One of the Jackals makes a comment about one of the Neogi's moms.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mom is so fat. He was calling your mom so fat.
and spirals from there.
Anybody know ventriloquism?
Maybe falls are in here. I don't know.
You can do a lot when you're invisible.
Anyone speak deep speech?
No. But they understand English, don't they?
They do understand common, yes.
Common, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they talk English, but
Same difference.
so then I'm going to go out on a limb and say that none of you have any actual theories of what is happening currently then
Oh, frick,
down
no.
there. If 3/4 of you didn't even realize what's actually going on with these two opposing forces.
Well, what do they have in common? They have Hannah in common, right?
Well, I'm guessing the Neogi came down the other tunnel that we started down and realized it just went into the city, into the sewers. And they came up, seeing what was there, and ran into the Jackals who were guarding the room beyond, which is hopefully where Mia's family member is.
Yeah. I guess I just assumed it was like a disagreement yelling type, not like going to come to fists. But, you know.
I guess Hannah did have a deal with the Neogi, so maybe
Yes,
these are...
that's
yeah,
why-
Yeah.
It doesn't seem odd that they would be in the same room
Yeah.
together.
And that's why I assumed they weren't fighting.
I see. Okay, well, apologies if that didn't come across very clearly, but yes, very, very. Both of these, they're like stepping up to each. They're like, this is like step up 3. They're just in each other's face, barking at each other, right, on the precipice of a major conflict.
I'm raising my hand like a
Yes,
kid in
Elena,
class.
please. Yes.
The Jackals are accusing the Neogi of killing Hannah. No one knows who killed her. You heard it here first, kids.
I like that theory because it gets us off the
Well,
hook.
no one. We tried to disappear with Jovi to not be accused.
Let's start telling people that.
All right, let's do it.
Did you hear the Jackals accusing the Neogi of killing Hannah? Oh my
The
goodness.
Neogi finally took out Hannah.
Can't believe the Neogi finally did it.
You were like, what? Neogi who?
yeah.
Hannah's dead? so okay,
Who
so
did
yes.
the what to the?
Jolvi said that like Hannah had some arrangement with the Neogi that ultimately, as far as Jolvi is concerned, came to this conclusion of Hannah giving them the Darklings, right? Whatever arrangement she had with the Darklings, which meant she had this, which means they were part of the arrangement she had with the Neogi. Maybe had a timer on it, or something changed, and then the Neogi were quote unquote gifted the Darklings from Hannah, right? That's kind of what Jolvi had said. Also, when you were exiting the theater, this door that Jolvi had came into the theater as when he fled, what was going on, had been barred and barricaded from the inside. So now you, of course, have this conflict that you've stumbled upon between the Neogi and the Jackals, her guardship, basically, right? Her representatives, for lack of a better term. So something is happening that you're again kind of stumbling into the middle of. Obviously, you don't have all the facts. And now that Hannah's dead, you probably won't discover all of them very definitively, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's par for the course for this entire campaign, really.
Close one door and a bunch more close.
Kill first, ask questions later.
Well, okay, at this point, does it matter?
Why the jackals and Neogi are fighting? No, because we just need to get past them to see what's on the other side of that room.
Sure. But you also have the other unanswered question as to why Hannah wanted Mia alive.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't tried to think about it too much.
Why she took a brother or father.
Thank you. Why she has a relative.
Yeah, like, why do I have a
of
family
Mia's.
member, like, other than the dark...
And why was there something that Detmer had with the Brightwood name on it? Somebody wants a Brightwood. Why?
And that's where I'm like, do the Neogi know that they're powerful and then just want to use them? Control them? I don't know. I don't know.
Or did they take did Hannah take your family member in order to lure you in, specifically wanting you for some reason because of your connection to Thor or Kralakina?
Well, Thor seems to be the pretty common answer there, right?
Or is the cult of Kralakina trying through Hannah to get Mia again to be able to use Mia to get Kralakina to come back to Earth somehow?
Gosh.
Can Mia be a vessel for Kralakina?
No! No.
Well, obviously not wantingly. I don't think you'd have a choice in the matter.
Genetically.
Yeah. Honestly, some of these little questions and things, I don't know that they'll be answered. And when the campaign wraps up, if Leela wants to tell us, great. If we never find out.
Well, okay, so, I mean, that may end up being true, but also here's the thing is, it's very easy while we are playing and kind of getting caught up in what exactly is unfolding before us, to remember that maybe choosing what could feel like a suboptimal choice in a given moment would lend better to getting those questions answered versus doing what your character might just feel like they need to do, like killing Hannah in that moment was the thing that needed to be done, right? And it's going to potentially turn out that that was just a really bad option to have taken, despite it looking like the best route to take at the time. If you know what I mean, like you just it's very easy to lose sight of the larger picture when you're making day-to-day decisions. TLDR.
The consequences.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if I was conscious at the final blow with Hannah, I maybe would have been able to convince us to stop that and then question her whether she would tell us or not. I don't know,
Well, the two people that used to not want to kill everybody are killing everybody now.
Well, I was
I
dead.
did point that out earlier. Yeah, like
I was
Shakara
dead.
originally would not have done that. Shakara would have knocked her out and tied her up and questioned her like we did with the doppelganger. We gave the doppelganger more courtesy than we gave Hannah.
I was 100% hoping we just knocked her out, but I was dead. What can you do?
Right. I mean, and when we had Mr. One Shot Falzern come in with his magic missile, I mean, mechanically, obviously, there's no chance of actually knocking Hannah out. She's just dead. But again, potentially, like Mia, there's nothing stopping Mia for popping a revivify on her if she can get to her, right? And then like subduing her or whatever course it ended up taking.
And like,
right?
of course, I'm understage with Jolvi. It'd been over a minute. And would Mia actually do that, or would she be like, "That's what's meant to happen"?
Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Let's face it, Leland. When you did the slow, arrogant walk down the middle of the
so good.
theater, she was gonna die. You were
You're
gonna kill it. We can't put up with that kind of thing.
Yeah, you just smacked us right in the face.
Well, I
Come
mean,
on.
look at that. That was the decision that that Hannah decided to make in the moment. That was not a good decision. She should have hauled ass.
Should have friggin'
Should have
bolted.
fucking moved.
She was warned, and she died.
Yeah, exactly. I do think, at least with, like you say, like giving the doppelganger the courtesy, like, Dreg's life was in the balance in that instance, right? So you did
Yes.
choose, like, okay, there are other immediate factors why we need the doppelganger alive still. But like you said, a locate creature would have done it, right? Assuming Dreg was still within 1,000 feet. So there's always the thing is, like, okay, very recently, it's just as part of the power creep as we get higher in levels, the idea and the abilities of actually resurrecting somebody are just now more readily available. And they are still going to be very costly as far as gold value, because you're going to have to pay for them. Like you had to pay for the material component of the soul cage. But it's just now an option on the table. And that, it's like a double-edged sword for a DM, I guess, someone running the game. It's just because, like, it can lessen the punch of a death, right? Like if it was Dreg that had died instead of Mullen, obviously there would have been way more incentive to make sure we can get him resurrected, right? But there's still always going to be a cost to that, and the way that you gain gold, I guess, in this campaign, it's not a trivial cost. It's still going to be, right? But like it's still trivial, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, resurrection is expensive, but we also could have taken Hannah's body back to good old Dad, right? And Barrick. They have the ability to do it at a very low cost, I would assume, like maybe free family
they're mind
discount.
controlled, so then there's the whole battling Neogi to get them unmind controlled to do that.
Right. Well, we don't know that's the case yet
Or
either.
whoever it is that wants you, assuming it's not the Neogi for some reason, somebody wants you. Maybe they have your parents right now. They're not mind controlled, but they're still under duress.
Yeah, I don't... There's just always a lot going on.
I'm trying to see, are you planting a seed saying that we could have somebody resurrected to be able to get information because we killed them too soon? Or are you saying that other people might be able to get somebody resurrected that we think is already dead? Which one of those things are you implying, Leland?
I'm not implying anything. I would never
Yeah,
do something
you're
like
bringing it
that.
up.
I would never do something like that. I would never plant a seed to later be
potentially
harvested.
it's because if we find whatever family member, they have higher spell slots than me for sure.
Well, again, like that's something that you say, but that may or may not actually be true.
It's canon. I said it.
No, I'm afraid it doesn't necessarily work.
Oh no. Braun is older than me. Come on.
Yeah, but you're a demigod.
Is he not?
Yeah, you got that going for you.
Braun's not.
He's only actually your half brother.
Oh, frick. That's right. Freaking Talos and Talina.
So I guess I don't know what point I was trying to make with the resurrection thing, but like that's just a part of the high level play.
See,
Yeah,
he doesn't
right.
know his point, John. We're fine.
I'm not buying it, but that's okay. I'm letting him talk his way out of this now.
I will say though, like the ability for your enemies to be resurrected is far less, like significantly less available to them.
Yes.
Right?
That's
Like,
what I want to hear, baby.
One, if any of Hannah's guards had the capability of resurrecting somebody on their own, you would not have got out of that fight alive with Alardos, right? Because they would have been the one with Hannah. You know what I mean? Like if she had someone in her employ that was that powerful, why would she not always keep them right at her side? Like that
Right.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So, like,
Get rid
that
of
makes
that
sense.
theory.
Just think of they're like her guards are powerful in numbers, but like they're still jackal wares. Like jackal wares are, I mean, you fought them, right? They go down pretty easily. You just need to focus some fire a little bit and you'll take them out and reduce their threat that they overall pose to you. So I don't know how much hair you need to pull out thinking about that.
Oh, I don't pull
That's-
any
that's-
hairs
that's
out.
good.
I don't think about why they want me or
I'm
nothing.
at the end of my hairs.
Like I said, I'm trying not to think why I was targeted. I'm not pulling out my hairs. Oh.
I mean, let's face it. Play it out and say they did go resurrect Hannah. How does that really do much for us anyway?
Other than the fact that she knows it was us that killed her, and she may then have a little bit of a vendetta against us.
And we say hello to our little friend, Samuel.
We're used to that.
Right. Well, yeah. Whatever. What else is new?
Another day in Aspara.
Well, under the assume if Hannah got resurrected, like you assume that she still needs Mia alive for whatever purpose. Now, obviously, that keeps Mia from getting outright killed, and not the rest of you.
Killed, but just enough, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Every time.
Well, the only other interaction you've had with her is when you were in Drukal some time ago.
Yeah.
And that discussion was about the Nyogi, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what could she have said to you to make... Because she let you go then.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm thinking it's somebody else that wants her. And, like, Hannah was offered a bounty or something. Like, Hannah will get something that she wants if she delivers Mia.
She's definitely someone that delivers what people ask for or work, like, you know.
Well, what superpower person do we have that we really don't know a lot about other than Jessica?
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoever is maybe leading the Nyogi, we haven't heard of, like, a leader, but there's gotta be one. Yeah? Like a boss
I don't know.
man.
Do you think? Because they tend to mind control other races. I can't see a member of another race being their leader.
No. I was saying a Nyogi leader, like a boss.
Like the one that you let go?
Maybe that's the boss. Maybe they're now the boss. It's freaking A, if that is true.
Be sure to listen to episode 156 to find out. Right after we do.
Yeah, right after we figure out what happened.
We're not going to find out next episode.
But I still want you to listen.
All I'm saying is all the players on the board, you know, all the factions, like there's a leader. And with Nyogi, there's yet to be a name or a person, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Am I way off base?
Well, I mean, you saw the
that
spaceship
makes sense.
come down. You saw the Nyogi when they first arrived this time.
Well, yeah, and that was one ship. Like, I'm assuming, Leland, I am reading between the lines that, like, they all couldn't have fit in the one ship. Didn't seem like it was that big, but maybe it was.
No.
Yeah.
There's also, I mean,
and they said they were already there for a while.
Yeah,
She see something
they've been coming down
like
for a while.
Yeah. They weren't the first to land.
No, they were not. And also think of how long Samuel and the Paladins have been around, right?
Right.
Like he's been looking for
Hundreds of
these
years.
armor pieces for a few decades, not
Yeah.
hundreds of years. No.
Like 30 or 40 years. Whenever the Phalean Forest was decimated.
Phalean Forest was half destroyed like 30 years ago.
So the Nyogi have been around for 30 years. Or at least like a advanced force came.
Well, in the armor, though, he's been looking for the armor and building the towers with Blake Lakely's grandfather. Or was it father? It was one or the other.
I don't think you didn't discover the full familial tie, but it was Drake Lakely, right?
Yeah. So, you know, at least 20 years there, or if it's grandpa, 40, whatever, 50. If it's dad, it maybe makes more sense in line with the forest.
Right. So has Samuel always wanted the armor for the purpose of battling the Nyogi threat, or is it just happen? Well, I was looking for the stuff that's going to come in handy for this.
Well, if Samuel's as old as we think he may be, he was the one that helped dismantle the armor in the first place. So I wouldn't think he would be working towards getting it back unless there was a specific reason. I wouldn't think it would be just like a hankering.
How old do you believe Samuel Cultus is?
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years old.
And how long ago do you believe the armor was dispersed?
Hundreds of years ago.
Years?
So keep in mind that it was, and I don't know if...
Oh, it was
I don't know if this
Alamar's
is
ancestors that did it. So Alamar was like 900 years old. So it was
correct.
a
Alamar is
century or
full-
so ago.
Okay.
full-blood elf,
Here we go.
Okay. So maybe it is Samuel just wanted it in the first place.
From my background story, right? 19 years ago, another comet blazed through north of Barrick. So that's 19 plus 19. It's like 20 years. 40 years, sorry. So, lines up, checks out.
What are you lining up?
I don't know, like the forest, 40 years. So Samuel could have been looking for this armor or knew about it before the Neogi, but the towers are all relatively new that he hasn't...
Or the Neogi came 40 years ago, and that's what prompted Samuel to start looking for the armor 30 years ago.
Yes. That's what I mean, I guess. What prompted the separation of it, I don't remember.
I think it was just a powerful thing that was too powerful for one person to have, so they decided to make it so one person couldn't have it.
And who was the they that dispersed it?
Alamar's ancestors.
Alamar's
Okay.
ancestors, yeah.
And apparently Cultus's ancestors.
Correct.
Yes.
So, but the Cultus had one piece that let him live a long time. So I guess that one piece got passed down between the family members.
So sorry, I misspoke on the timeline. So the Phalarian destruction was about like 18 or 19 years ago. So about 2 decades ago. And then before that, 35 or so years ago was the Sorrowful Isles,
island.
right? Those
Yeah.
uninhabited islands were also an area that were affected by the towers. So yeah, so it's almost about 40 years that the effects of this blue light has been going on.
So Neogi can't swim.
And about 40 years since they would have landed, but who would have known and how would have been communicated, and yeah.
So Cultus has had the eyes of Dendar for 40 years, at least. How did that happen?
I don't know. But I mean, my backstory doesn't say that even 19 years prior, taking it back another 20, right? Like, ish. It just says the last 2 19-year marks. The night I was born, and then the night I turned 19, it happened. And the night I turned 19 is when I went out and sought out the ship.
Right. I mean, and again, like, okay, 35 years ago, if that was when Samuel decided to start assembling the armor because he learned of the Neogi, I mean, can he get the resources together to build those towers immediately? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still an unaccounted amount of time before the powers are up and actually running. The tower is actually up and running, right?
Well, especially with the artifact or whatever. That's the Eyes of Dendar, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot to think about again.
Look, if everybody just needs to stop having off mic periods, so from now to the end of the Aspara campaign, everyone just knows everything, so we don't have to keep keeping track of who knows what.
That's an idea.
You started this episode, man. I like it when people split up so they can have conversations amongst each other.
Good role play.
And we get to the end and they go, but you dumbasses don't talk to each other. So
You are damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. That's
right.
This is a random side note, but looking at my backstory, I just remembered my name is actually Euphemia. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I've never gone by Euphemia.
I re-remembered that like a couple weeks ago and was like, oh, wow. Me is short for Euphemia.
I think that pretty much I think that beats all these episodes to death, right? I think we went through everything. We're talking about all kinds of theories at this point. So now it's just a matter of finding out what the hell is going on under Hannah's place.
right. Yeah, the current trajectory is finding Mia's relative, right? And just resolving that.
Yeah. We got a couple days, and then Sammy's going to show up, and something's going to happen at that point.
You think we can go figure this out without fighting all these sewer beasts?
Well, Shaft can sneak.
I mean, my preference is to not fight.
Yeah, same.
And accomplish the goal. But if we get in a mess,
We just need to get the Neogi to write down everything they're saying, and then I can read it, and everything will be fine. We'll know everything.
I got a good chuckle out of that.
Do you think their little hands can write?
I'm sure they have some kind of
They got these like
adaptation
T-Rex
for pens or something.
hands.
Now I'm just picturing you get down the bottom of the spiral staircase. Complete utter silence. Other than the soft squishes of the Otyugh. And you get around the corner and you see the Neogi furiously scribbling on a piece of paper, handing it, sliding it aggressively across the stone floor to the Jackal. Jackal looks down, sniffs at it, paws at it, grabs a quill in his teeth and scribbles out a response, sliding it back to the and this just you watch this for 5 minutes going back.
So it's like
And
Twitter.
I'm invisible, so I can walk up there and I can read it.
Yeah,
And
it's like
Shakara can just look
All done.
over the Otyugh's shoulder and just read everything that's happening.
Yep.
they're just
I
tweeting
like
it
that.
out too. They're limited in characters and everything.
Yeah. And it is, as Bill said, just your mother jokes being passed back and forth.
Yeah.
So your mother smells so bad, not even Otyugh would eat her.
Ruthless.
Your mom is so dumb you can't feeble mind her.
Oh no.
On a more serious note, we're for sure going to miss probably at least one release, but it might be a couple weeks off. I've had a unfortunate, unexpected death in the family again. So that is going to impact a bit of the recording schedule, as I will have a lot of stuff that I'll need to take care of. Just an FYI for you, listener. And I wanted to get the after party in just because it's more of a bookend on the 3, right? So I just thought that was a better thing to be able to do the after party. Because again, we love the after parties and it's a nice break from dealing with everything else too for me. So just an FYI, yeah, we might miss a couple of weeks worth of releases.
Leland is staying up super late so we can get this done.
Yeah, jet lagged.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right. It's like 7 in the... Well, no. It's time to get up. Oh, it's 4 in the morning, Netherlands time.
Oh man.
But you needed to hang out with us, so here we go.
Well, yeah. And plus, I'm home. I need to adjust anyway. So. Yeah, just an FYI.
All right. Well, it's been a good 3 episodes, but not as good as the last 3. But stay tuned for the next one. I've been John and Shaft.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I'm Elena. I play Mia.
I've been Bill and Falzarin.
And I'm Leland Steele. Happy adventuring.
Test. Okay, that's gonna
Called
be loud.
out on record. Don't save that.
It's
Blackmail
okay, they don't
file,
listen to the podcast.
AJ. Oh, that's true.
Do any of our friends listen to our podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Can't even
that's
get my
why
mom to
they're
listen to the
friends.
podcast.
5% of the Discord does.
It's up to 5 now. Damn. Oh, good. A couple new people came in, I guess.
Keep these gains going like this.